everyone, how you doing today? Yep, back for another video. I know if you guys watched that live stream the other day, I feel kind of embarrassed. Sort of got in this death loop. I'm sure you guys were shouting at the screen saying, "You idiots!" I felt the same. So, anyway, since then, yeah, I did play a little bit of a single player game myself to get reacquainted with the game better and especially the logistics. And I think I finally figured out how to get something from a crate or storage into the factory, which I could not seem to figure out how to do when I was actually playing the game. But I was dying like every 2 minutes or so once we got to that base and died where I couldn't get my body again. It was kind of like run down there, try to get your body. If you get your body, freeze to death, die again, repeat, 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 repeat. So that's kind of what happened, and yeah, I feel pretty bad about that. But anyway, laughing aside, I did get this dredge out Sunday, so that's up on the workshop. Probably seen it there if you were looking. Yeah, I do like this thing though. It's kind of cool. It's a bit pricey. I get that for a miner, so it's not really a starter miner. But if you get a little bit further in the game and you find a planet with a lot of resources around and it's kind of hostile, and you want to get there and get the resources really quickly and get back to your ship safely, this hopefully would do the task pretty good for that. And it can hold a fair amount of resources at 32K with harvest storage right out the gates. And a decent amount of ammo storage too, especially it's only running 6 minigun turrets. So nothing too crazy there. Now I've been working on a couple other things since then, and I'm debating what I want to release this week. So basically every week I'm releasing something here, and I've got all these new things. And I'm either gonna release this one, which I'm calling the Tick or TIK. It's a little tier 1 starter SV, 7K storage. I think I showed this already. Um, Regular stuff that you'd want on a starter thing, I think. Got some ammo storage, fridge, armor locker, O2, and 7K regular storage, and extra cargo box. Pretty simplistic ship, not a whole lot to it, but it flies decent, and you got 4 miniguns, you can shoot something, drones at least. I certainly wouldn't be going after tough POIs with it or anything, but there is that. This one I do want to, I got to skin this and texture. This would be a tier 2 SV miner. It looks kind of awful lot like a ground miner, but same general principle at least. This one seems to work pretty well. Decent amount of storage. It's got some defense, so I think that would do the trick as well. And then of course this TIE fighter here, and this other one over here. So a bunch of new SVs. Now, one of the names that was suggested for this was Sphinx, and there was 2 reasons why I didn't use it. However, I liked it. Big first reason was I already got a ship called the Sphinx, and that is the Sphinx Sav over here. Older human ship, but I already used that name. That is one of the deals. This was built for an Excalibur challenge a while back for a POI buster. So this one was basically set up to land on the ground in front of the POI, and it's got all these front turrets ready to shoot the POI. And these are all ground capable turrets, so cannon and minigun turrets only on the front and up on the other areas there. So that's kind of why I didn't want to go with that name. And second, Sphinx again is getting into your mythological creatures. I know it's the name of a Egyptian structure, but I was trying to avoid that with this race too, with because I've been using that so heavily on the other factions, or like the human faction especially, that I didn't really want to go with that kind of name for the Scar. So I've been trying to look for other alternatives. So I came up with Dredge, which I think that works, kind of like a dredger. Now, one other, well, two other things here, and then I wanted to build something real quick here too. But here's a high concept ship that's not finished, but it's actually kind of functional already. This thing is really weird ship. It breaks normal rules, and so it's an illegal build. And what it's doing to be illegal is running 11 plasma guns on it, right down the center. Now, the concept of this ship is basically I started out building the actual main weapon, which goes through all the way back to below the cockpit from the front of the ship. And I staggered every one of these plasma guns so they're one block difference in where they start. So when you fire, every shot, which is in a very tight range, is like a little bit different in spacing. And it's a very devastating ship, and well, especially right now being mostly unfinished and everything, is extremely fast as well. But it's a legal build only because I'm running 11 plasma guns on it. But I think I'm going to go with that. I did the Merc Mav a long time ago, which broke the rules too, and that's running 12 rocket launchers on it. So this is kind of a plasma version of that. Really powerful for going against POIs and things. And I believe the plasma will take down shields fast too. So this ship will be just some kind of alternative ship if you're not playing by game rules. And I'll eventually get this one finished and out. But I got, yeah, just another weird concept of flying this thing around. It's very agile. I mean, it turns on a dime. And what's also cool about that too, is rather than using rockets against turrets, if you use this, it doesn't seem to quite take out a full turret in one shot, but it's plasma, so you can just keep railing at it. So oh, I didn't get that second turret. Too much fire damage there. But anyway, it works quite well and really agile and can really mess up stuff fast. So it's kind of fun. It would slow down, of course, once it's more finished off, getting all the rest of the stuff in the ship. Right now it doesn't. Except if you come down too quickly, you tend to like to roll over here. So there's that. Just kind of fun. Over here, this after these complicated designs, I decided I want to go with a more minimalistic approach to building. So I think from here on, I'm just going to build boxes. No, I'm kidding. This is, I'm working on my first underground POI. Well, partially underground POI. This is the underground portion, and I wanted to make sure I was doing everything right. So what I've got here is a 30 by 30 box right now. Now in this box would be the underground portion of a base, and anything above this box would be the top side of it. And I think there's a barrier I got to put in there as well with some different blocks. But inside, I haven't textured this at all. Well, I just did a mass fill on textures on 2 different materials. So anything that's of this texture currently is combat steel, and anything of the other texture is armored concrete. But this will hopefully be kind of a sprawling, weird underground place, or at least this bottom portion, and I'm trying to make it look like there's actually some kind of like underground subway transit inside of here, and this would be kind of like a terminal hub with different structures and buildings and things around it, and all kinds of nooks and crannies and places to go, and different floors and different rooms around the area. So, and keep in mind that would also have some kind of top side to this too. So it might be a pretty big POI. It depends how much I go on the top side. It could actually go deeper, I suppose, as well. But I think this will work out. Be interesting, underground labyrinth, sort of. But I didn't want to go too big. I know I can go bigger than this, especially with that POI we've seen and killed us repeatedly in the game for us probably being idiots. That one was just enormous. In fact, I thought you weren't supposed to exceed 40 by 40 blocks for a POI due to placement, but that thing probably was 100. So I don't know. Maybe my information is really bad on that. This one's not even going to the max 40. It's only going to 30 below. So I figure that's safe. Another thing, I did update this POI. I did what I said I was going to do. I changed all the so you don't kill the core when you get up to this room anymore. In fact, the core is no longer even visible. But what there is in the POI is on different floors in places, there are switches like this. And you have to hit all 4 of these switches. And when you do, it blows the core. But this allowed me to get the player to go to multiple areas of the base, rather than just, you know, to that one floor and then shut it down right there. Because, I mean, even I would too. I mean, if I was playing this game for real, I wouldn't like run past the core and go up the crane and shoot that stuff before I killed the core. I mean, the core would be the first thing. But in doing so, it wrecks the spawns and the lighting and everything else that on the crane portion of this. And I did go over the spawn points again and tweaked a few more things, try to get all that stuff fixed up. So I think this is just about completely finished at this point in time. The only thing I wanted to do yet is I had one spawner. God, what room was that? It was somewhere towards the top. Yeah, right over here. One spawner. I had something else spawning in here. Let's see. Yeah, Total Horrors, which seemed out of place for this particular POI. So maybe I'll just throw in some more, I don't know, either soldiers or maybe some Ripper dogs. I really wasn't using too much in the kind of creatures that you can spawn at a POI in this one. I was keeping it pretty simple, basically Xerox troops. I used all different kinds, so minigun and rocket and shotgun and a few commanders and stuff like that. But yeah, just and Ripper dogs, and I think and spiders. That's the only thing that's actually spawned in here. But I'm trying to keep it to theme, where it doesn't seem like, why would you have these weird, you know, other things in it that just doesn't feel appropriate. And okay, so today what I wanted to do, and I might try to use this in the Wednesday Excalibur playthrough, continuing our death cycle. I kind of wanted to build a starter base that's appropriate, cheap, quick to get going, and I don't know. I'm looking at cost, even for like, you know, another different like single player playthrough, and it's kind of, I think I know what I would want early on in the game. Now, and then I was we were thinking about like different bases to spawn, and I'm like, well, you know, I got the old Farpoint, which works, but that one, it doesn't have the new storage and things like that. And then I've got another one called the Waypoint Abode. That one might work. It's kind of like a new sanctuary. One of the earliest creations I ever made was a Sanctuary ST, which was a starter base. It's really dated now. And so about a year ago, I built something called the Waypoint Abode. Let's see if I can. Waypoint Abode. So this one is a cheap base too, and it was actually meant to spawn on the coastline. Because it's got some areas here that are kind of left open, where if it was on the coast and this is water, you could put in like things that need to go in the water, like right basically attached to your base. This one would also work, but it comes with all its grow plots. It has quite a few grow plots and constructors and everything else. But I was scared of it because I'm scared of what the CPU on it would be, and yeah, that's what I thought. It looks like this could be tier 2 with no problem at all, though. That's cool. I'm glad that this number is coming out just below the tier 2 aspect. This is built again before there was CPU, or this version of CPU in the game. Just curious on the price on this one too. Not bad. 53-minute build time. Huh. Maybe I will use this one. All it really needs is a tier 2 block, I think. hold on. Let me get a tier 2 block in here. And I still kind of want, I still want to build a new one. Oh, not a CV tier 2 block though. That's probably not going to do the trick. How about a base tier 2 block? I do kind of wish that, well, it's such a, it's not a big deal at all, but it'd be kind of interesting if, you know, the tier blocks were smart. Like, you know, if you put a tier block in a SV, it would be a SV tier block, and if you put a tier block in a CV, it would be a CV tier block. It would just kind of like look at the creation and be like, oh, you're a CV. Okay, I'm going to be a CV tier block then. I was just thinking about that. It's like no big deal how it is. I think it could be simplified without losing any complexity, I guess, you know, and how it's done. I know they want a little bit of complexity in there. And I was trying to think of, there's one other thing too. With the survival tool, it has the different settings. One setting for resource drilling, another to damage things and get trees, and another one to salvage. And I kept on wondering when I was playing that, I'm like, why couldn't it be smart? Like, if you just shot a tree with it, it would know it's a tree and it would harvest the wood from it. If you shot a creature with it, it knows it's a bad guy creature, you want to damage it, and it would damage it. And if you were using it on a rock or a resource, it knows it's a rock or resource, and it does what it's supposed to do for that without having to switch the mode of the tool. No big deal. I don't know. I don't even know what your thoughts on that would be. It just seems like some of this stuff just seems like they put all this work into making these extra little features, and I'm like, well, it doesn't really add anything to the gameplay, and why couldn't it just figure it out on its own? I mean, obviously, when you point at something, the game knows what you're pointing at. So why could it not just figure that out? That, hey, it's a tree, harvest wood, you know. But you know, it's no big deal at all. And I don't really mind the mode thing how it is. I was just thinking about that, and it's like every time, you know, it's like, oh, I'm getting a rock. Oh, now I need to switch my mode because I want to get this tree. Oh, and I'm getting attacked by a spider, so I need to switch it again. This other thing or whatnot. No big deal. No big deal. Just a little bit of time stuff that goes by. But honestly, this base could work. Doesn't have a hangar, but it's got a landing pad. It's got solar. It's got 5 turrets on it. It's got crafting and storage, everything. It's under our build time. All it needs is a tier 2 block. I probably ought to update this blueprint and fit a tier 2 block in here somewhere and just put it back or update the existing blueprint. Speaking of updating existing blueprints, I got another issue too with the Persis Carrier CV2, and it's really annoying me. There's an air leak in it, and it was in the comments, and it was reported that there's an air leak, and it's up in the front lounge area. I found the air leak. I fixed the air leak. I cannot update the blueprint. I don't know what the deal is with that ship. Only that ship. Everything else works. But I try to update the blueprint, it doesn't give me the option to. So I'm kind of stuck with that one. It's a really easy fix. I know exactly what's wrong, and it's basically some blocks changed on their airtightness. They used to be airtight, and because of their half blocks or whatnot, they are not airtight now. So I found those blocks, replaced them, made it work again, can't update the blueprint. So what I did is I took my copy of the Persis Carrier and removed it out of my folder, sub my own creation, and I still can't update it. So I'm like, I don't know what to do about that one. I don't want to re-release the ship as like a new ship or blow away the existing post, but it's got that one air problem that, and it's such an easy problem to fix too. It's just bugging me. I haven't found a solution for it yet, but I'll keep trying. Anyway, speaking of a new base, let's get going with that. I've been jabbering too long. So I'm going to place a base core. Primary material out of this probably going to be concrete again. It's my go-to starter base material. Simply put, because of starter-based materials, steel, concrete, or carbon substrate, I suppose, concrete has the most amount of hit points. It's available on all planets. I mean, every planet. So if you're in the middle of a desert and there's no trees, you can still produce concrete. So it's really cheap, easy to get, plentiful, and you need steel and those other resources for everything else. Bases are the only thing that can use concrete, so I tend to like to use concrete for bases. I don't like the texture options a lot of times on concrete, though. That's the problem. Um, so on this base, I don't care about symmetry, so I'm not going to really try to be symmetrical at all on this. In fact, I kind of prefer if it was more asymmetrical than anything else. But what I want is a crafting area, potentially for 2 different people, um, or like 2 different crafting zones, I'll say. So here, I'm going to just get a floor in here. This is going to be just a really, really cheap base, so it's not going to be very big or extensive. I want it to have solar. I want it to have some defense turrets, and I want it to have everything that you would need in for like a tier 1 super cheap base right off the gates. So let's say this is going to be the floor over here, part of the interior. I guess one of my big things is where are the solar panels going to go? They're going to take up some space. I'm just using full blocks right now because I kind of want to get a layout idea of how I want this thing to be, and then I'll make it pretty later here. So I got some solar panels too, and I'm keep on thinking optimally speaking, if I could get the solar panels on the roof, that would keep the footprint of the base pretty small. So I think what I want to do here to start with is I want to extend the roof out over the edges of the wall a little bit so I can get more roof space. This goes pretty simple right now, and then I want to see how solar panels are going to fit on that. And I can actually run the solar panels, so do I want see, I do like the looks of the angled solar panels, but I know they don't function as well as the ones that face straight up. Seems like these always get more sunlight than these do, unless these are directly facing the sun, where these are just easier to work with. Just curious how many of these could be fit. Crossed. So if you had like 2 rows like that on top of the base, that would really give you a lot of solar energy and actually might make it worthwhile. But what if it had 3 rows of these? And keep in mind, this base is really for function, ultra cheap starter, so that is its primary thing. Looks are a secondary concern. But I really wanted a base that was worthwhile with solar energy. Could actually possibly power the whole thing and keep it staying in power purely with solar energy. Although I will put in a generator and fuel tank anyway, because not putting one in a solar powered creation really does kind of suck too. So alright, so I'm off on this side then. Let me fix that. Then another thing too is to fit the turrets somewhere too. Here, let's do something like that there. I guess for now, you know what? I could use some other blocks that kind of do the same thing, but look a little metal, more metal-like. Since there's no ceiling below this part of it, I can do that and get away with it, I think. And let's try these for the ends. so this would be part of the wall, and I think, no, okay, the wall starts there. So let's do just a row of full blocks here a second. Okay, so this has to be part of the roof on the inside. It's getting kind of big. I think it'll work though. Alright. And alright, let me just replace one of these so I know where it's at. Is that what I used? Oh no, on the other side I used that. Okay. And we've got another wall that comes down right there. Okay, so that's going to leave us an odd number of blocks on this side. Okay. I'm sorry, even number of blocks. I prefer odd, but the even works. Let's see how far with this. We need to go all the way to here. Not very wide on the inside, but I guess that could be altered a little bit. I imagine this would be cheap. Now, one other thing too would be the farm. But I don't want to have it include on this build because of this epic cheapness, and you want to be able to spawn this right away. I don't want to include the actual grow plots on this one. So that is, it's not a big deal at all, but I will try to leave a spot for it to add those grow plots. Let's see, is that how I did it there? Yeah. Alright. Well, this width could work because you could get a constructor or the bigger parts on one side, and then you'd have a one-lane hallway, and you could put smaller parts on the other side. Let's see, entry point. I think maybe the entry point will go on these sides over here. Just set up a little something to make it look prettier around the stairway. So we got that. Let's get some concrete steps. I'm hoping this thing's just really cheap. You know what? Maybe. I guess it is kind of coming out symmetrical, isn't it? Something like that. Get a temporary column here. Okay, so then we can add a door. Now, if I was building this in survival, it would take epically longer to do. I mean, dealing with the logistics and getting that set up and building a lot of this with the drone, it certainly takes longer. And one thing that really kind of annoys me with it too is if you got to move a block, it's slow, and it's hard to texture behind stuff in survival. So if you place something and then you want to texture the wall behind it, sometimes that whatever you place may not have very good collision, or it just completely blocks it so you can't get to that area. Just one of those things. Okay, so I think this would have enough room inside the base, and actually the bottom area could be cargo extensions. Farm plots, God, that's weird though. farm and the width on this. This is just bugging me. I'm thinking, let's modify this. Let's go to it. I'm going to select something here in a minute. Here, let's 0 as well. And what I want to do is take that. Just take this wall, and I want to make it a little bit bigger inside. So let's see, does that do it? Yeah, that does it. All right. So let's. I'm just gonna copy and paste that. And we'll go to the other side and do the same thing. Alright, I think that'll work out better. It's going to up the amount of space inside here. Probably should have cut it rather than pasted. Oh well. Alright, more room without really using any more blocks. Or hardly any. Alright. So, let's just temporary wall here. Let's try to make some kind of block work on the exterior to make the wall look interesting somehow. I think to start with here, we'll get rid of these and put some kind of beveled block here for now. Something like that. And then maybe another row like that above here. And let's go for a different block that can fit the two and add a little line here. Alright, a little something going on there. Guess a little bit more beveled blocks here. Just see if we want to use the same thing or go for a different block. Alright, so now another big thing is turrets. Where are the turrets going to go? I think optimally, if it had 4 turrets and they were kind of sitting in the corners out here, I think that would be a pretty good plan. Let me grab some of these. Now, to save costs, what I think I'm going to do is run retractable turrets. And there's a difference on CPU. Oh my gosh, big time. Wow. Wow. Cannon turret 8600 CPU, minigun turret 2800 CPU. Well, that's good to know. That is a huge difference. I knew there was a difference, but I didn't think it was that extreme. Well, I'm going to put on the cannons now. I got to assume they're stronger. And if I need more CPU, then some cannon turrets can go bye-bye, and I'll replace them. Only if I need more CPU. Alright, I'm not worried about structural integrity here either, because if these corners are planted, it's really actually only going out just a little bit. So I'll put some kind of block work below there to make it look prettier. And probably just a blocks around the whole frame here. Just hope it doesn't bring up the price too much, but man, I do want to have some kind of detail in here. How about, I might just work on this side and then copy and paste it to the other side too when I texture it and everything, since it did end up being symmetrical. Symmetrical is certainly easier to build. Usually quicker. Well, you know, since it's symmetrical too, that also gives me the option to use symmetry. Yeah, right down the center there. That'll work. I'm going to try to do something interesting here. A combination of these two different blocks. So you can kind of see that it's just framework up there. I think that'll work. Alright, so supports for this to make it look like it's not just out there and going to fall off the base. So I was following the whole thing. Actually, okay, so this would be, oops, repeating that same pattern on the side. That would be that, this, and this. Okay, so that lines up on both sides. And here we can follow that through with the same thing. I hope it's not going to be too expensive. And yeah, we're obviously going to have to put some blocks here then too. Well, not super pretty, but I think, yeah, I think this would do the job. It doesn't have a hangar, so this isn't a hangar base. It's just a solar defense starter base. Cool. Alright. Now, farm plot. Farm plot. It's weird because this is uneven number inside, but maybe that'll work out fine. Let's just say, hypothetically, I'll place farm plots now. Oh, you know what? No. Let's put in a block that represents farm blocks that you could tell. It's not, but they need to be airtight too, so that's the thing. Could try to put in some half blocks. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we got a perfect 6 there. Oh, probably didn't want that symmetry. Oh well. You know, I might be able to have two. I might be able to have that many. Okay, so those are grow plots. Oops. Okay, this would be our record walkway. And then, you know, it'll work out great too because, yeah, the this outer wall here would be there, and then you'd have a 2-block space on the other side, which is perfect to fit large constructors or whatnot. Speaking of, alright. So here's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to, well, let's not do any texturing this time. I'm going to copy the front to the back real quick, so that's done. So let's just grab, I might screw up the solar panels in the process, but that's alright. Probably do this one more time once it's textured. I wanted to get the layout in. Okay, copy, paste. look? Looks good. All right. No, it's not good. Darn it. What did I do? What did I do? What did I do? Let's undo that. I screwed it up somehow there. Yeah, I think I know what I did wrong. These don't quite line up the same. Well, you know, I'll do that later. Sorry about that. Let's get the ceiling in here a minute. And try to figure out, here, a temporary wall. Could have windows here at some point too. Alright. So where would, let's see. If you add cargo extensions, see, let's see, unlock level 7 on those. It's the only thing that kind of sucks. I would like to keep this a lower player level unlock than 7. And I also think a container controller would need, Should I go with cargo boxes? Now these cargo boxes I think hold 16K, or at least the big ones do. And they only require player level unlock 1. And early on, that's pretty decent amount of storage. Later I can see where that could be problematic. Okay, so then we're gonna want these tiny little fuel tanks. Let me get rid of some of this other stuff here a minute. We're gonna want a tiny little generator. I think that's the smallest one. Yeah. We're gonna want a capacitor. I'll start with that. So we'll get the power stuff in here somewhere. Now, of course, we want to keep this away from frying people. I'm wondering if I shouldn't just put this outside and build like a little cage on one side around these parts. If you do somehow get attacked and unable to defend, they would probably target the core, where I could put the core and all this stuff like on one side kind of away from the main base, so if it does get destroyed, it won't destroy the base itself or your interior. Just an idea, and it keeps these parts away from you, so you don't have to worry about the heat in a tight area. It's a little dangerous, I suppose, but it depends. If you build a nice little area around it, it might work out. Okay, so those are 2 required parts. God. 4 fuel tanks might be a bit much for this little thing. Alright, so we're going to also want to move the core. So get rid of that. Slam in a new core here somewhere. I know, yeah, this looks really, really wimp. Keep in mind, this is not a PvP base. This is survival. I'm anticipating drones coming in, pretty much, or, you know, some ground troops, and this will be shielded, and there'll be turrets above. There technically could be turrets below, too. Did that with the waypoint compound, and it worked out pretty good, defending the lower sections of the base. Okay, any more parts that need to go in here that I would want outside? Don't think I need more than the one little generator, especially with the solar. I think that's it. Okay, so let's get some more blocks and shield that off. that here a minute. It'd be kind of nice if it was a little bit accessible to the player too, so they could get to this and it wasn't like buried, so you didn't know where your parts were. Wondering, but the only way I'm really going to be able to achieve that is to put some kind of weak door over it. So I think I'd rather have it solid blocks. Can I keep it semi-visible with solid blocks? Not sure. Now those nice shutter windows that I like, I don't want to use those on this base because they require sathium, and that's a material I don't want used on this one at least. So, and trying to think on what could look nice here that would also defend it. Could get in a little bit of curvy going on here, which would give me a little bit more hit points on these blocks. Something like that. And this is the part I want you to know where the generator is. So just kind of going through options, what could work for this. So you can kind of see that there's parts in here. So, you know, I might seal that up too. Yeah, I probably should keep it a little bit safer. Oh, I know. Let's put in a full one there. And that there. You got some little gaps in there, so you can kind of see the core, kind of see the generator. Sure, you could hear it too. And it's got an extra little block in there. Guess if we were going to a tier 2, so what's the CPU look like on this thing? Okay, so we're doing good so far on the CPU, but we haven't added the big pricey parts yet. So let's get a large constructor. I'm not gonna do an advanced on this one. If you want an advanced, you can upgrade it. And actually, if you wanted to upgrade this to a tier 2, there is an extra block in there. If I could somehow make it easy to place a tier 2 block there. And I also was thinking like having this have 2 different stations too, so it'd be a good co-op base. Each could have their own grow plots, each could have their own storage and constructor, and probably make you share armor locker and stuff like that. But so say we put a constructor there and a constructor here. What's the CPU look like? Now we're over CPU. That's problematic. Alright. It looks like I'll be able to do 2 constructors then. Alright, so one other thing I wanted to assess. Oh, wait, you know what? You know what? I I was running all these cannon turrets that used way more CPU than the minigun turrets. I assume they're stronger, but is it really needed this early in the game? What if they were swapped? And then we add a constructor again. Ah, look at that. In fact, they're so cheap, I'm curious if I've ever done this one before. Oops. We had another one below. Oh, that's cannon, minigun. Not sure if I'm going to blow the CPU again on this one. This would give you really nice ground coverage around the base as well. Let's see what do we got here. CPU. Oh, we're good yet. We're good yet. Okay. We could actually technically run 8 turrets on this thing if we want to use the minigun ones. And that would give you a very nice, yeah, especially for starter defense. Covering all the ground areas so they couldn't hide in nooks and crannies if they came in to raid your base very easily, at least. It's not perfect though, because technically I think these ground turrets should be out one more block row so they can clear the wall and shoot across the long sides of the base. Not sure if that would ever come into be though, because with the 4 turrets here, I just keep on thinking they would probably get shot down before they got that close. But if they did manage to get right here, could that turret hit them? It's a good question. I don't really know. I'm kind of wondering if the blocks up here in the side wall would prevent the turret from firing that in that direction at all. Well, these are all kinds of the things that I'm just thinking about when building like these bases. I usually come up with like an objective, like I wanted to do this. Now keep in mind though, take a look at this the solar output that you get with these flat solar panels. I don't really like to do that. I mean, that could be a big landing pad right there too. But that could save you, I mean, it's probably making more power than the space is using, I bet. In this case, we're running 12 of the big ones at like the optimal way to place them. Alright, and we can get 2 constructors. We got about 10k left over for storage and other little knickknacks. Fridge, armor locker, O2. Needs a ceiling on here yet. Just curious what kind of general build time are we going to be looking at here. I'm thinking the way it's going, I wouldn't think it would be too much over another maybe 6 to 8 minutes of build time, putting this around somewhere in the 30-minute range when all these parts are in. I think I'm just going to fit a few more parts here real quick. And I'll refine this down later. What do I need those for? Let's see, we're going on Wi-Fi. I'm not so worried about a light right now. Yeah, the good old clone chamber. Well, hold on. What does that unlock at? That unlocks at that, and med unlocks at 10. Yeah, we can't do the med. Get rid of some plasma charges. And one of those. One of these. Let's see, fridge and cooking station. Where's the fridge? Where's the fridge? Bridge, there it is. All right. So figure we'll have, I'm not sure if I want to input and an output box for each one of these constructors. Actually, I guess it's kind of nice to have both. Okay, so let's see, we had that there. Let's put a clone. Just kind of slopping in parts really quick here. Wi-Fi. So we'll say we put 2 of these on each side. So you could have input and output. What am I lacking? Let's see. Armor locker. We're gonna need O2 tanks as well. Is there a small O2 tank for a base? These unlock at 7. Yeah, oh yeah, I thought there was. Yeah. Okay, so say we had a armor locker somewhere. Obviously, this would be all like refined and made to look better with the normal type of stuff. But this is kind of to assess what kind of CPU you'd be looking at here. And how many O2 tanks would you need? Could actually put another one of those out here. And last but not least, I'm just going to put in some more blocks up here really quick to I'll probably change all the blocks to fancier, more beveled edge versions and things like that, but I wanted to seal it. Oh, and the last thing it's going to need is a ventilator, I think, unless there's something else I'm missing. Let's just get rid of one of these O2 tanks for now. Dump that in there. Okay, so we got power, we got our generator, we got fuel tanks. Fuel tanks, yeah, two small fuel tanks. 4 O2 tanks, Wi-Fi, armor locker, clone, fridge, food processor, 2 large constructors, 4 current cargo boxes, and room for quite a lot of grow plots. Speaking of grow lights, okay, and then last but not least, let me just throw in a couple regular lights. Probably need a couple of switches in here too. I want to be able to turn off those grow lights or keep them off by default until you put in grow plots. Again, this is all temporary stuff here. What are we looking at? Ah, look at that, look at that. I'm happy with that number. That's cool. Right to the edge of tier 1, but not going over. First try, the rest of it's just detailing, and there's a little bit of CPU left over for the possible more CPU that some of the blocks might take when shaping them. Oh, you know, and there's some more blocks to add on the other side too. It's missing all the trim and stuff. So, yeah, I'll probably use up the rest of that CPU in the rest of the block work. But, oh, missing a key component yet. God, I have an ammo box. See, look at that. That bugs me. See, we're getting the fluctuation. This is still what happens with solar. Man, that solar isn't enough to power up 2 constructors in the stuff, is it? 12 of these big solar panels. It's still, you can tell that flashing's going on because it's using more power. Is it just one of these constructors? Let's see. Let's turn. This is why I always put fuel tanks and generators in any kind of solar creation. Um, Otherwise, if it struggles with power, and I don't know why this is struggling with power, I really don't. I mean, here, let's do something really quick here. Main grow lights. Oops. Grow lights. Yeah, I'm really struggling why this thing's having power problems though. I mean, so that doesn't make any difference shutting those off. Shut off the second constructor. Obviously this goes away once I put fuel in it. But I'm just kind of a little annoyed that it's struggling. I mean, with really good solar energy coming in and 12 large solar panels, it's struggling. I guess maybe it's the turrets. Maybe all these turrets are just sucking up a major amount of power. Well, let's just put some power in this thing a minute. That'll obviously get rid of that problem. Let's see, generators 2. Okay, so one is fuel. Average current output, average output. The battery's not getting charged, or the capacitor in here is not getting charged at all. Power left 30:57. That 30 hours and 57 minutes. But 30 minutes and 50. Yeah, it's just bugging me with the solar. I expected it to work a little bit better. The game only allows you to put in 15 solar panels max. I don't want to put in any more on this design because I'm going to be out of CPU. And I don't really have the roof space for that. But it helps. I mean, it should lower the fuel costs. I guess I wasn't really expecting the solar necessarily to power the whole base continually. But I did expect it. I just thought it would, though. I mean, that is a lot of solar energy. If you had that much solar panels on your house, you'd be really, you'd be doing good. Um, so I just expected it to do a little bit more, but maybe it's the power consumption on running 8 turrets on here that's doing it. I got the 2 large constructors off, even though they weren't doing anything, so I don't think they were using much power either. But anyway, yeah, I'll have to finish this off and make it all pretty and fancy and texture it and finish the block work, but I think it's going to come out just about perfect with CPU for being a tier 1 structure that's defendable, that's has everything in it that you would want typically except hangar space, and solar energy and defense and all your starter stuff for a cheap price, or a fairly cheap price. Speaking of that, oh yeah, look at that, it didn't even hit 30 minutes yet. It probably will once I add the rest of the blocks to it. So yeah, it should be about a 30-minute build time base. Cool. Well, anyway, um, hope you like that, and that's kind of how I approach a lot of things. I build in different building modes. Typically, it depends what my goal is. And this goal, I wanted efficiency. So it's simpler design. Didn't go all crazy with weird stuff like this over here. Um, but yeah, I think it would work good. And other times when I decide to build, it's like especially with POIs, I don't care about the cost, things like that. I just go off and I don't care about logic or function and just try to build things that look cool. I do care about the layout some though, so I try to plan that out on a POI some before getting too heavily invested in it. Um, anyway, uh, you all have a good day, and I will finish this up and show you what it looks like once I get it finished. And I kind of want to get this one done because I'd like it done before Wednesday when we're doing the continuation. I would like to be able to spawn this. I'm gonna have a miner already. In my own single player game too, when I was just kind of getting better used to the logistics and whatnot. The mole T1 or MCRN mole T1 does work really good right now. I was happy with that thing. I was jetting around, getting a bunch of ore really fast. I was able to move it, so I didn't have any CPU issues or anything like that. It holds a fair amount of weight. Yeah, so that thing actually does good now that it's been fixed and modified for the newer versions of the game already. All right, well, y'all have a good day. I will see you later.